That's the pleaser parent style. In other words, her scenes are just too much for you to handle, and she knows it. Whereas with a leader, like, she would know, I could care less if she has a scene. After you've disciplined, you go right back to connecting. A lot of parents seem to want to talk about it, or they hold a grudge. Even if you've done 24-hour media blackout, the parents say, yeah, so it was just a black cloud over the house for 24 hours. Huge mistake. Welcome to the Brat Busters Parenting Podcast. My name's Lisa Bunnage. I'm a parenting coach. I'm a mom. I'm also a grandmother.
And I'm Amy Bunnage, Lisa's daughter, and I handle the marketing and planning here at Brat Busters. While I don't have kids, each episode will dive into parenting topics and Lisa will answer your questions. Let's get started.
Okay, sweetie, what are we talking about today?
So today's topic is, are your kids controlling you?
Well, okay. I just wanted to go off on a tangent, but I won't yet. Okay.
My apologies. This is an audio first platform, so we do need to be talking throughout it.
Yeah, no, but I just thought, where I could go off on that. Are your kids controlling you? Yes, often they are. Yes. Which you allow. It's not them, it's you. So are you allowing your kids to control the narrative, control the energy in the house, or are you in control? So that's what I do. I don't fix kids here. I fix and teach parents. So I want you to be in control of the energy, the narrative, the just sort of the vibe, such an old word, but just sort of the energy in the house. And oftentimes parents are letting the kids do that. And they don't want to do it. That's what's interesting. Kids are drawn like a magnet to a leader. They just are. But you've got to mix it with fun too. What were we just saying before this, just before we started the podcast? And I said I should bring that up. Oh, I know. Someone messaged and they said, hi, Lisa and Amy. And then they said, we assume by listening to your podcast that Amy's one reading this. Yeah, Amy reads all the messages. Just so you know, it's not me. But she does run some stuff by me, but she already knows what I say about stuff usually. But it's Amy. She reads all the comments, all the emails, all the messages.
We don't always get a chance to respond, but I do show my mom. If you've posted in your story something nice, I do show her those. So
she does, but I don't have time to see all that. And also, but I do all the emails with my clients. So as soon as you become a client in coaching, that's all me. Just so you know the difference. Amy's not answering your coaching stuff.
And we have now changed the title to, are you allowing your kids to control you?
Yes. Yes.
Because that was an important distinction.
Of course it is. That's what stopped me. I thought they're not controlling you. You're giving them that. You handed it over to them. Absolutely. They're just children. People give so much more power to their children than the children want. Not just can get, but that they want. They don't want that. They are, like I said, they are drawn instinctively to a leader. They just are, because they need it. They're children. They need a leader. We like leaders. We all kind of like leaders. We look maybe leaders in business that we admire, that we listen to, but we're more discerning. You are going to be your child's leader. They're not going to be discerning. No, I think I'll pick that other kid's parents as leaders. They're stuck with you is what I'm saying. Whereas we can pick and choose our leaders more as we're adults, but we all kind of have leaders, people that we look to for advice for business or whatever. So yeah, but that is your responsibility to not let your children control you, because they don't want to. They'll fight for it, but they really don't want it. And it makes sense to me, but it doesn't seem to make sense when I say it like that. Let's get in with the questions.
Okay.
The
first one is Kim from Brazil. My daughter, who's 5, has recently started saying things like, if you don't blank, I'm not going to behave or do what you asked. In the airport yesterday, she wanted a toy. We said no. She took her backpack off and threw it and said, if I can't have a toy, I won't hold my things. Brand new behavior. How do I make it stop without being overly aggressive, but also making sure she knows this is not okay? No idea where this came from, but I need it to stop.
Wow, boy, she's in control. Oh, she's threatening. That's another level. That's another level entirely when they start threatening. I can't say it. I didn't ask permission. Darn it. I had a client recently. It was a very similar situation, but I usually ask, if I tell you a story from coaching, I've already asked permission. I didn't ask permission for this one, but often they will threaten. That is a whole other level. There is zero respect toward you. So you got to work on your leadership skills. Just start. I can't tell you how to deal with that airport scene because it's too far gone. So you want to start getting respect by using the behavior board. It's completely free on my website, which is bratbusters.com. If you want the next level, which you might want to look into, would be the boot camp course for 3 to 12-year-olds. But yeah, if she's she's threatening you. And the thing is, if a kid said that to me and they said, if you don't carry my bag, I'm not going to carry my things, I'd say, okay. But then when we get home or wherever we're going, there'd be a consequence. By the way, you didn't carry your things, you threatened me, so here's what we're going to do. So that's how I would deal with that. But you haven't got that. You're not there yet. But yeah, I would let it go in the moment for sure. But boy, I'm coming in later with a consequence for sure.
You want to address, it says it was a brand new behavior. Let's say hypothetically that this is coming from, okay.
It's not brand new. It's just manifesting itself in a new way. That does not come on overnight. That is a threat towards a parent. That does not, there's no way that's the first time that's ever happened. She's worked up to that. You just didn't see it coming, maybe. Maybe that's just the worst of it so far. But yeah, no, she didn't just start that at 5. No.
Are there certain parenting methods that you see leading to this?
The pleaser parent. Absolutely 100%. That's the pleaser parent style. In other words, her scenes are just too much for you to handle, and she knows it. Whereas with a leader, like she would know, I could care less if she has a scene. Could care less if she carries her bags. Doesn't matter to me at all. But I'll deal with it later when we get home or whatever. So, yeah. No, she's worked up to that. There's no way that attitude started at 5. There's no chance of that.
One last thing, because you do talk about how on airplanes you do handle that differently. Do you want to talk on that?
On an airplane, I give them whatever they want. But this is in the airport. And I let her have a tantrum at the airport. Once you get on that plane, she did not get that toy. There's not much you can do at that point. So on the airplane, you're just catering to them, like playing with them more. It's not like not like you bought them all the toys they want, but you're playing with them the whole time you're on the airplane. But when you get off the airplane or when you're able to, then you have a consequence. Check out the free behavior board. It explains how to do that. The reason is airplanes, trains, wherever you're stuck with a small group of people or a group of people, there's no way I would put them through a tantrum. I just think that's incredibly rude. So just do whatever you got to do to prevent the tantrum when you're on a small confined space with a bunch of other people. But then afterwards, then you deal with it. Yeah, she's been working up towards that. She's been doing it before, but just in different ways because you're afraid of her. That's fear-based. She knows you're afraid of her scene. She knows you're afraid of her not carrying that baggage. I could care less. I'll deal with it later.
Okay, the next one is Melanie from the United States. My 6-year-old will not take no for an answer and throws crazy fits, throwing things, hitting, won't fulfill any consequences, and I'm feeling stumped. I've tried to give him a consequence, he won't do it, and he continuously towards his brother. I don't know if that was the right word there, but
is anger towards his brother, acts out towards his brother or something. Yeah, okay.
I don't know how to handle it when he starts to kick doors, throw things, and I have at that point told him, at that point I have to hold him. I try to figure out what's going on with him, like talk to me, is everything okay? I tried to reroute his brain by doing other things. I feel like I've tried it all. Would love some advice.
Okay, there again, it's kind of similar, is that he doesn't respect you. So you've got to work on your leadership skills. And if he's kind of red zone, if he's getting that violent at 6 years old, he's getting harder to physically restrain. But I do say when you can handle them physically, if they're hurting themselves, hurting someone else, or damaging property, you do physically restrain them if you're able to. Once they get older, and if they're just hurting someone else or themselves, you try and physically prevent that. But if they're just damaging property and they're big, like a teenager, you do not get between them and a TV or them and a door. But you will try and prevent people from getting hurt. But yeah, he's kind of going into the red zone. You really want to get a handle on this. So as I said with the past question, check out the free behavior board and start with your leadership skills. It's mixed with a lot. You're on there too, by the way. You're on the behavior board, and it's mixed with a lot of connection stuff. The connection is what prevents that behavior. It also what will help get rid of that behavior. So, but yeah, you want to be consistent. You're afraid of him. He knows it, or else he wouldn't be threatening and he wouldn't be damaging property like that at 6 years old.
I think something to touch on, because I don't know if it's explicitly said in the behavior board, is if you're dealing with this is intense stuff, I'm assuming, what would be the first rule you would start with? Like, would you start with something like, don't have a fit?
Well, I don't say don't do anything. I say no hitting. If you say, I don't know, it just sounds different. No hitting is the rule. Don't say don't do that. Sounds more like a command, but just the rule is no hitting. So yeah, I would start with no hitting, because if he's hitting, especially a younger sibling, yeah, I would start there. And he's kind of at 6, if he's getting violent towards other people, And it sounds like he is because he's damaging property. He's using it. It just says to me that he knows you're afraid of him and he's going into the red zone. Um, yeah, red zone really can kick in at 9 is when it really kicks in because you can't physically restrain them if they get violent. It gets harder, especially if you're a mom home alone with a 9-year-old boy. You can't physically restrain them if they're starting to hurt other people, hurting themselves, or damaging property. It's very difficult.
And how do you approach connection when you're dealing with this?
Well, you find the moments and you say, okay, so this time we're going to be doing this. This is our time to go to the park. We're going to go to the park and we're going to do this. So you've got to find moments. And also, after you've disciplined, you go right back to connecting. A lot of parents seem to want to talk about it, or they hold a grudge, or they want the kids in the doghouse. Even if you've done 24-hour media blackout, the parents say, yeah, so it was just a black cloud over the house for 24 hours. Huge mistake. Once you've said 24-hour media blackout, once they've calmed down, then you say, hey, do you want to go to the park? You connect. You're always trying to connect. Or do you want to play a game? No, I hate you. I hate you. Say, okay, never mind. 30 minutes later, when they've calmed down, you ready to go to the park now? You're always trying to connect. Doesn't matter if they do. At this age, 6, he's on the fence. He might connect, he might not. So yeah, just try and connect as much whenever you find the moments. But you're not angry. If you show anger, frustration, or disappointment, you're not a leader, and it makes them worse. Think about it. If your spouse shows anger, disappointment, or frustration with you, does it bring out the best in you, or does it make you feel like crap? Like, if they feel good, they do good. So your connection with them makes them feel good. If you're not connecting and you're just disciplining, it doesn't work. I'm suspecting he's maybe going into this red zone area and all you feel like you're doing is disciplining him. He feels like crap. You feel like crap. He gets on your nerves. You don't know what to do. Am I right? Check out the boot camp course. You might need that. Or you might even want to look into coaching if that would work for you. Because yeah, it's kind of a bit, he's 6. He's getting a bit big for this.
You do talk about that. It's almost like this cycle. It's like you're disciplining them more, but you're not sure how to approach it. And then they feel worse about themselves. They act out more. And I'm assuming once you're in that cycle, like, how do you even start to get off?
That's when you got to find the moments. I learned all this, not with my own kids really, but when I was working with kids, they were all red zone. All the teenagers I worked with, for sure, they were all red zone. And I knew never to address that. I sort of did a little bit. I can't go into all that, but I knew that the power I had with them was making them feel good. My goal was always that they like themselves when they're with me. Once you start to see that happen, their behavior changes unbelievably. That's what my goal was always, that they like themselves when they're with me. Years later, one of them said to me, I didn't like myself until I met you, Lisa. Now, think of how, if someone makes you feel good about yourself, how do you treat that person? So your son feels his self-esteem's in the toilet, guaranteed. Guaranteed. You can't feel good about yourself when he's acting out like that. It's impossible. So his self-esteem is really my goal here. You want him to like himself. So you got to I was going to say, you got to act like you like him. You probably don't, you love him, but you probably don't like him very much when he's acting like that, right? Makes sense. You got to fake it. Did I like those violent teenagers when I was working with them? They weren't very likable initially, but I learned how to connect. I learned how to make them feel good about themselves. And then they were very likable. I got very attached to them.
Okay, the next question is Victoria from the United States. My 4-year-old has been struggling with trying to control us as parents and others in the way we speak and words we use. One example is at bedtime, she wants us to repeat a specific word or sequence, and if we don't, she tends to get very upset. It's even in little moments, like if she, mom, and I say, instead of what, she immediately said, no, say what. We've been sticking with a strict, don't tell mom or dad what to do or say, and repeat it until it passes. Some days she stops immediately, and others she gets stuck in a state of dysregulation. I feel like she's trying to manipulate us, and I'm unsure of what type of consequences would be appropriate when she tries to control our actions or words.
Well, you've trained her to do that for sure. When she says no, you say it like this. I would say, good night. I control the narrative at that point. That's the attitude. You do not address attitude. That is massive. She doesn't respect you. You're not a leader. You got to earn respect. You haven't earned it yet. So if I said, okay, if a kid said something and I said, what, or pardon me, and if they corrected me, I'd just say, okay, good night. You see, it's a bit of a snub. I'm controlling the energy. So she's going into the snotty zone. So I just shut it down instantly. They learn very quickly. So you're already saying goodnight to her, right? And then you just continue on with what you're doing. Don't worry about what she says. Just ignore it. Because you said she tells us what to say. Oh my God, she's telling you how to speak. Yeah, yeah, I don't know why you're allowing that. Like, why are you answering that? Yeah, so I don't know how clear that was. But if a kid said to me, if I said, "Oh, what did you say?" And she goes, "You say pardon." I'd say, "Oh, I'll tell you what. Good night. Love you." And I'm out. I'm gone. Because it's bedtime anyway. You're letting her know you can't control me. She's in the attitude department. She doesn't respect you. You got to earn that respect. And this is how you do it. You just shut down this snotty narrative. You control the energy, control the narrative. Don't let her do it. She's controlling you. And she knows it.
To clarify, because I do think the word possibly like stonewalling can come in to play here, where you're just shutting down. It's only specifically in these instances, correct?
Of course it is. You've already communicated, I didn't hear you. And then she corrected how you were speaking, but you said it's a pattern. Okay. So obviously it's a rude pattern with her. Okay. So when she corrects you, you've got to let her know that that's not something that I'm going to put up with. I'm not going to let you correct the way I speak, which in some circumstances it can be right, but obviously she's doing it in a rude way. So yeah, it's not stonewalling at all. It's just saying, okay, good night. You were saying good night anyway. And then just continue on with what you were going to do anyway. Like, just control it. You're in charge, remember, not her. You're letting her take control. You okay there, sweetie? Her elbow she went to lean on the desk and she missed.
I want to touch on one last thing, because I do hear from parents, or I see online, that when kids are toddlers or a little bit younger and they're acting like this, it can come off as cute, and possibly it can get rewarded when they're young. What's your take on that?
Well, I don't really address that because that's going into what you did wrong in the past. You laughed at things that are now a problem, or you thought, "Oh, that was so cute. Listen to what she said." They'll even do that with swear words. "Oh, did you hear what she said?" Laugh at it. So yeah, I don't really address that. Let's just move forward in a more effective way.
The reason why I'm bringing it up is a parent of a toddler might be listening, doing that right now, and not realizing that it may lead to something in the future.
Oh, I see. Yeah, but yeah, don't worry about what you did in the past. Just fix tomorrow. I'm always focused in tomorrow, and because when parents hire me, it's not because they've been doing everything great leading up to hiring me. It's because they just didn't have direction before. So now I just say, well, and they often want to talk about what they were doing wrong, and I say, yeah, I need to know a little bit about that, but let's just move forward. Just correct from today forward, and don't worry about what you were doing in the past. But if you're laughing at stuff that you don't want them to do, really, it may be cute when they're 1 or 2. Think about it. If you laugh at them swearing or hitting or running away from you, yeah, you're just encouraging it.
Okay, we have Davini from the United States. Girls ages 6 constantly reminds me that I broke the behavior board. For example, my rule is no getting mad, and consequence is give her a treat. I realize now this consequence is too broad, but back to the question. After I break it, she constantly reminds me that I broke it and asks, when am I going to get my treat? Which I always give before the end of the day. And after I give her the treat, she goes, this is because you got mad at me. You owe me this because you got mad at me. Remember when you got mad? Admittingly, this behavior makes me mad again because I feel like she's belittling me and controlling me. Help. I can't put her repeated reminders on the behavior board, can I? I'm not sure how to respond.
You said her repeated behaviors. That's not behavior, that's attitude. Her belittling you is attitude. You can't address that. She just doesn't respect you. You got to earn that. They don't talk like that when they respect you. They just don't. It would be embarrassing. So, yeah, and you don't give them food like treats when you yell or anything. And don't put down no being mad. Oftentimes I do in coaching. It's a little bit different. I didn't ask permission to tell the story, Draz. Another funny story just recently about parents. Sometimes I do put no being mad. Sometimes I do put that down, but it's very specific how we do it. And it was much older kids, by the way. So 4-year-old, your rule is no yelling. When you yell, let her berate you. Let her go after you. That's okay. Just ignore it. Well, you did that because you have to give me that. You have to do that. And don't give her treats. It should be like playing hide and seek or something like that. And then if she says, well, you had to do that because you yelled, I would just go, yep. And I'd only say it once. See, you yelled at me. And I would just ignore it like she hadn't even said it. I've already addressed it. Well, you have to do that because you yelled. Yep. Yeah, that's true. But if she keeps going on, that's when you ignore. You just ignore that stuff. Let it go. keep playing with her, like hide and seek, and then it's all over. She's saying it because it bothers you and it's giving her a lot of power and control over you. Yeah. Yeah. You just gotta, I know it bothers you, but you can't show that. Just say, yep, but only say that once. Well, you yelled. You shouldn't have yelled, you see? And yeah, just say, well, whatever. Don't let her go on. Don't let her get under your skin. That's her payoff for that. She'll keep doing it if it keeps bothering you. It's like that kid. I bring this up all the time because it's such a short, clear message. That 8-year-old boy who said to me, if you don't give me what I want, I'm going to have a fit. And I leaned back and I said, bring it on. And he never did. You could see it in his face. He was like, oh, she knows what she's doing. This isn't going to bother her at all. He was great with me. He was wonderful with me, actually. He almost looked relieved. They don't like being snotty. It doesn't feel good to say something like that to someone. He just met me. Like their self-esteem is in the toilet. So she doesn't feel good about herself when she's berating you and belittling you. So just let it go. Let it go. And she'll eventually stop doing it. But you got to earn that. Attitude is the very last thing to go away. And it happens organically once you're a leader. It could be 3 to 6 months.
Okay. Next question is Jocelyn from the United States. Hi, I know you say to ignore a toddler when they say no to something they have no control over. So, for example, getting in the car seat. But do you approach it differently when they say no to grandmas, cousins, or friends? My 22-month-old daughter is not fond of my grandma, tells her no great grams, even when grandma literally is not doing anything. She does the same thing to cousins sometimes too. Do I correct this behavior or do I still ignore it? Thanks.
I would ignore it and make a point of ignoring it. So if she's really being rude, then when she does say no to the great grandmother, just and just tell the great grandmother, we're going to pretend she said nothing. Okay. You do not even want to address that. Let it go. Just ignore it. They lean into what works and they lean away from what doesn't. Once she realizes and they do it for attention. Once she realizes that gets no attention at all, she'll stop doing it. So yeah, and tell everyone around them, say, she's going through a phase, just make light of it. And it is light. She's only 2, for goodness sake. So just say, she says no to everything now. When she does, we're ignoring her now. Okay. So when she goes, no, you just keep talking over her and just leave her out of it. And then when she talks nice, give her attention. So you want to ignore the snotty behavior, and then you want to reward the nice behavior. So you're not ignoring her for the whole visit, just while she's saying that. You're letting her know.
Okay, we have one final question. So Skylar from the United States. My strong-willed boy is 2 years old, and no matter what we try to do, so playground or pool, he finds the one thing he's not allowed to do, and he fixates on that, where it becomes a meltdown where we have to leave. Redirection or distraction do not work with him. It makes outings so difficult. Any advice is appreciated.
Okay, so you're kind of doing the right thing. So you say, okay, we're going to go on the swing, and he wants to go where he shouldn't go. Just say, oh, we're going to go on the swing. Do you want to go on the swing or the slide? I would give him maybe 3 times. And if he says, okay, let's go, then no swing, no slide. Don't talk about what he's trying to do that you don't want. Okay. You just keep pulling him away. So do you want to go on the swing or the slide? And you're trying to encourage him. If he won't, then just go home. You might, and you know what I might do though? I might go somewhere else, walk away, maybe for a half an hour, and then go back and try again. So do it several times in one day. So the lesson will be learned quicker that way. And, I'm going to tell you something, a little secret here that I never told you before. Every time after I finish talking and you say, to clarify, which I do need a lot of clarification on stuff, but a part of me, I always want to roll my eyes at you every time you say to clarify. In other words, to make more clear what my useless mother just was trying to explain. I know I need it sometimes, I get it, but there's just that little part of me. It's very immature, but I always want to go, oh, geez. Leave that in. It's funny. But yeah, she's your voice. She's your ears. When I say something, often I'm coming from my old lady parenting advice brain, whereas she's coming more from, come on, not everyone might get what you just said. So you're absolutely justified and correct for clarifying, but just to tell you this little spark in me, and I think I got a lot of toddler in me. So yeah, it's just, I feel somewhat corrected, although it's needed.
Feel a little defiant? Like you want to just give less of an answer because of it?
Yeah. Isn't that childish? Just to point that out. That's even though I'm 64 years old, I always say I'm a 64-year-old toddler. Like I got a lot of little kid in me. But yeah, there's a part of me that goes, yeah, next time I'm not going to say anything.
Well, to clarify, I read a lot of the comments, and so I do get to see what the parents are asking.
And every time she does that, I think, yeah, you're right. So you're very correct in doing it. It just struck me as funny. I just wanted to point out human nature, how we tend to, I don't have a filter, so I just sort of react more, childishly in a lot of ways.
Wait a second, you don't have a filter? This is news to me.
Well, you've got such a guiding filter, like you think before you speak. I don't have that. I just don't have it. And that's okay. You're getting the real me, and that's not always a good thing probably. But she's more representing you. So I'm just saying that I do need clarification sometimes.
I love whenever you describe us in those. Well, at least you know you're getting the real me. My daughter, not so much. You have no clue who Amy is behind the scenes.
It's like I'm sugarcoating myself. It's like whenever I call myself, because I procrastinate with stuff and she just doesn't. She doesn't have that. She's so efficient. So I call myself last minute Lisa, like it's cute. There ain't nothing cute about it. But anyway, so there you go. Okay. Are we all done?
I think we're all done.
Okay, we're all done. Mother, daughter, this is what you get. Anyway, thanks. And we are best friends. We have a lot of fun together, but we're also human. Anyway, thanks so much for joining us, and we'll talk again soon. Happy parenting. Bye now.
Thanks for tuning in. If you're ready to dive deeper, check out bratbusters.com to learn more about the Behavior Board, parenting courses, and private one-on-one coaching with Lisa. If you've enjoyed the show so far, we'd love it if you could take a moment to follow, rate, and review us on your favorite podcast platform. Your feedback helps us reach more parents just like you. The information provided in this podcast is for general informational purposes only and is not intended as a substitute for professional advice. Lisa is a parenting coach, mom, and grandmother. She is not a licensed psychologist or counselor. Her services do not replace the care of psychologists or other healthcare professionals. For a full disclaimer, please visit bratbusters.com/disclaimer.